Hey, Bill Friel here with a welcome into another entry to my video chapbook. This entry is titled Aquarium Light. And like before, it's out of a short story I wrote many years ago and in my retirement have revisited and rewritten. I'm calling this a father-daughter story. Family friendly, if you can forgive about a half dozen or so swear words. FYI. It's about 4,000 words, so roughly 30 minutes of listening. So, if you are so inclined, I hope you will join me as we walk the path into Aquarium Light. I ain't gonna lie. I am not happy here, standing at the edge of this pond by the city dump, reaching out and pulling back with my pole and sackcloth net, making figure eights in the shallow green water. It's way hotter than it ought to be for a May morning, and there's a smell in the air like sour milk as I work to stir up a cloud of daphnia, the flea-sized crustacean that aquarium keepers swear by as the ultimate in live fish food. It occurs to me that I'm a fool for not bailing, for not gathering up my gear and my 12-year-old daughter, Sammy, and heading on out of here. But then I think about my life now as a single father and all the new this and new that I have to deal with, so I sink my feet a little deeper in the muck and keep reaching. I duck a dragonfly and look to my right at Sammy, who's sitting in a camp chair at a bend up the path between a pile of black garbage bags and a couple of rusted orange bicycle frames. The drone from a dozer pushing piles of trash into a hill keeps her out of range of quiet early morning conversation. She doesn't want to talk about what she knows I want to talk about. And what I want to talk about is the only reason I'd be offering my face and arms to this swarm of gnats and mosquitoes. Usually by now I've made the turn at the Sunoco station and I'm on the cinder path doing the return trip home. Every morning I run before school. Well, one of many schools really, where I'm a habitual offender as a substitute teacher for the district. I got some college and it's become a bit of a career move, along with some Uber and DoorDash, since I lost my city job due to downsizing a couple of years ago. It's a living. But anyway, like I said, I run before school every morning. It clears my head and brightens my face and eyes, so when the kids come in and see they have a sub, they might not think I'm the lamest piece of shit they've ever seen. But lately, to be honest, I've come to appreciate the way it makes me feel younger, and especially the way women driving alone to work look at me. I shout, "Bugged you, Sammy!" Sammy is dressed like a prisoner. Blue and white baseball cap, denim shirt and trousers, collar buttoned and sleeves tight at her wrists, even though the sun's been up and hot. As president of her aquarium club at her middle school, where coincidentally I've landed a 12-week FMLA gig, she's been at the South Side landfill before, walking along the edge of the pond and poking her net in and out of the water, sloshing her catch around in a white plastic bucket, knowing enough to dress to keep the bugs off. I say, "Throw that juice over here, will you? I need to lather up again and quick." Sammy turns from watching a man sweep out the back of his pickup. "Well, I just used the last of it," she says, wobbling in the chair and throwing her legs out straight for balance. "Sorry, thought you knew. Hey, you know, shit happens." I pull the net out of the water and hold it over the knee-high weeds. Water runs from the sides and bottom in a gush. When it slows to dripping, I put the net over the top of the bucket and lay down the end of the pole. Good news. There's a full bottle in the glove compartment. Come on now, do your old man a favor. Sammy yanks her cap off and frowns. Sure as hell, I can't believe this shit, son. The band from her cap has pinched her hair into the shape of a cone. She looks at me long and hard and then turns and stomps her way up the path to the car. She walks between the weeds and then scrambles up the clay embankment. At the door, she pops the handle, looks back at me, then yanks the door open and dives inside. I pick the net up off the bucket and, rearranging the bunching around the ring, think about the wide ground of Sammy's bad attitude. Since her mother split a good 3-4 months ago, Sammy's been shit on wheels. She stopped studying, learned how to throw down many a well-placed swear words, dropped a lot of activities, and has started skipping school. It's been rough on her, I know, but the skipping school part was the last straw. A red line in the sand for the both of us. So I've decided to take a stand on that in this new business of quitting her pride and joy, the Pulaski Middle School Aquarium Club, and skipping the district regional competition. Sammy walks back down the path. She steps around her chair and throws me the green plastic bottle. I catch it in one hand and it's still holding the pole with the other. You can't give up on all you've worked for, I say, the club, your friends, the regionals, just because of a minor setback. Sammy picks her chair up and resettles it carefully in the soft ground and sits back down. She leans forward, elbows on knees, and proceeds with this proclamation. A water tiger, mean as a real tiger, that for reasons of my dumb ass I do not see, enters the aquarium with the Daphnia I've collected and dropped in the tank. Soon it rises from the bottom and sucks the blood out of one of the club's prize red-finned Cummingee. Not exactly a minor setback. I say, well, you have another Cummingee? Brilliant me. The hell, Dad. Judges always give preference to pairs. Showing a single Cummingee is like standing up there shit empty-handed. Well, so what do the other kids think? Are you serious? They're pissed as hell. Nobody's going to regionals now. They know we don't stand a chance, and they're right. And it's all my fault. I make my move. Well, then you and I'll go. I'll be a faculty advisor. We'll show the single Cummingee. Maybe we'll get lucky, get a newbie for a judge, and it's so stupid. Lucky my ass, like you have a clue. I'm not going. Well, I think you should go. You shouldn't quit on something just because it's not perfect. As the sentence leaves my lips, I realize what I've done. Sammy leaps out of her chair. Well, maybe you should have told that to Mom, she says, pivoting, shouting. She runs a little ways back to the car, then turns. Maybe she'd still be here with us. I watch Sammy fling the car door open and disappear inside. She doesn't bother closing the door, and I wonder if she's crying or just mad. I undo the latch in the middle of the pole and fold it in half so I can fit it in the trunk. I put the end with the net in the bucket and pick up the bucket by the handle. So I should have told that to your mother, I'm thinking, following Sammy's step up the path to the car. Well, I'll tell you, kiddo, I did do exactly that. I grabbed your mother by the shoulders, put my face into hers, and said those very words. What then? Well, I'll tell you what then. She looked at me with eyes blank as the side of a building and walked out the door. Driving to school. We turned off the city bypass onto the old business highway. It's a relief to be in the car. I got the AC blasting and the vents pointing at my face. We passed the charred foundation of an old restaurant in a par 3 lighted golf course with a sign that says open every night until 2 a.m. My mind wanders to the issue at hand, Sammy and me and Mary Ann. Months ago on a Friday night at dinner time, we three were eating breakfast specials at the IHOP downtown. Sammy was giddy, as a kid in a funny mood will be, at the peculiar timing of this meal. Then she turned red and burst out laughing and slid way down in her seat when the busboy, bending over, wiping down a table, showed his crack to the world. I felt obliged to scold Sammy, but did so with a smile and a wink. Mary Ann shrugged, grinning, and said, "What the hell? You're only 12 once." I remember thinking in that moment, what a great family we were. But over the weekend, like pushing a sideboard down a set of stairs, Mary Ann dropped the news. She would only say that she had grown close to a man in her fitness class, and over time they realized they had fallen for each other, and in a way neither one had experienced before. That's saying a lot about me. And the two of them were moving to Santa Monica, California, to take over his family's flower shop. Actually, a small chain of flower shops. Money, California money. So this is about the cash, I said, from that hard place between panic and not believing. Not money exactly, she said. Other things, a lot of other things. No disrespect, Rob. Fine. Forget about me, but what about Sammy? I know, Mary Ann said, that's a big one, but she'll be fine. She's tough. She'll get through it. I know I did. Back to the here and now, I look over at Sammy. I think to give her a wink to lighten the mood, but she keeps her eyes fixed on the road, fingering the corners of her backpack. Sammy has her mother's narrow eyes and long face. A few weeks ago, Sammy had her braces removed and her small teeth are neatly collected like the beads on a bracelet. Out of habit, and now I suspect out of spite, she keeps her lips tightly together. A smile would be a betrayal of her anger at the world. During school, I think about how proud I am of Sammy and how she has taken the lead of her middle school aquarium club. Being president is a lofty position for a 7th grader in a school dominated by the older kids. And I've been especially proud of how she earned her position by being the one to do the dirty work. She scrubbed the sides of the tanks regularly and soaked the larger rocks in a solution to keep them shiny. She charted all the feedings and kept a file of the club's purchases and expenditures. She even solved an algae problem by simply moving a tank away from a window, eliminating direct light. But most of all, she did what no one else would do, and it was her idea. Frequent the dump pond collecting the Daphnia. The problem now is that Sammy's written off the club and all her success because of the backlash caused by the water tiger. Well into the noon hour. I can only say school goes badly. It's too hot and too close to summer vacation for the kids to concentrate on any work. They spend a lot of time talking, twitching, checking their phones, spacing out. I spend a lot of time disciplining. During my homeroom, Sammy pokes her head in and waves me outside. I meet her in the hall. She says, "Everyone in the club has signed a petition demanding my resignation." Her shirt is half in and out of her jeans and the front is smudged with ink. "Well, what's the reason?" I ask, watching her face for any sign of tears. She's putting up a good front, but her voice is cracking. They say I've lost my enthusiasm, and I'm not keeping a proper leadership demeanor. Who told them how to spell demeanor, I ask. I mean it as a joke, but Sammy is not feeling it. I cornered Sally Jones. She told me everyone is really pissed about the water tiger getting to the Cummingee. That pair was our best shot at getting a prize at the show. They said I had no right to take the fish home in the first place. The fish belonged to the club. There were property issues involved. Property issues? For real, I ask? From down the hall, I hear a teacher yell and see a kid banging out of a classroom door. The teacher, a woman, follows behind him. The kid's got a book in one hand and an iPhone in the other. Sammy says, I was only trying to do what I thought was best. Take him home and watch him and feed him good. I pull Sammy to me and give her a hug. We'll go to the regionals, you and me. We'll show the single fish. Throw in some others. No way, Sammy says, breaking away. I've had enough of this shit as it is. Sammy, forget it, she says. Turning down the hall, she rounds the corner and I figure she's going to the gym to compose herself. I want to follow, to console her, to lift her chin, but I know I can't leave my class. I turn reluctantly and open the classroom door. Looking at the 5 rows of 6 kids each, I make the transition from father to teacher. I wonder if Sammy has a hall pass. I come home right after school, eager to talk to Sammy. I throw my briefcase on the table in the hall and yell upstairs. There's no answer. I don't know why I expect Sammy to be home. I'm sure she's dawdling along the way, maybe watching the baseball team practice, looking at magazines at Kroger's, sitting on a planter by the CVS drinking a carton of juice. I go upstairs and stop in the doorway to Sammy's room at the end of the upstairs hall. I switch on the overhead, look inside for a moment, then switch it off. The sunlight from the window is filtering through a bamboo curtain, throwing lines on the wood floor, the white bedspread, the postered up walls. I enter the room, pull the chair away from Sammy's desk, and take a seat in front of her aquarium. 4 blue and white bulbs, partially submerged, illuminate the tank. I sit back, cross my legs, fold my hands in my lap, and watch. All's quiet except for the percolating sound of the aerator, sending out a stream of bubbles where they spread out like small craft, leaving a marina. Sammy's tank is a big one, 25 gallons and 3 feet high. A black sailfish molly, like a piece of clothing in a pool, drifts between the centerpiece, an Amazon sword plant, and a stand of eelgrass. 2 Australian rainbows, translucent blue and orange, dash back and forth, one trailing the other. In the sand sits a small plaster house with open doors, front and back, a red chimney and green trim. 4 bumblebee gobbies tended the house, wandering in and out like a family lazing away a Saturday afternoon, puttering around in the yard. I wonder if they ducked inside and hid in the corners the day the water tiger, hungry and lethal, came looking for prey, its 6 legs swimming and mandibles waving. I wonder if that family feels safe now, in the quiet, in the house near the tall grass, in the clear blue-white light. After Marianne left, Sammy and I spent many a weeknight and weekends in front of the TV, or we'd sit at the kitchen table, poking our forks into plates of mac and cheese, comfort food, allegedly. Eventually, I came to understand the deeper nature of Sammy's grief. Losing her mother was bad enough, but the whimsy and finality of it all was what really hurt and confused her. She had no preparation, no fighting, no leading arguments, not even the serious illness of a near relative. She had no idea where it all could have come from. Soon, she began blaming me for the whole mess. She couldn't understand how I couldn't have seen it all coming and done something to prevent it. As unfair as that sounded, I could never convince myself that she wasn't at least half right. I mean, what yard of sand did I have my head in while Marianne and her fitness friend were glowing and growing close? So stupid. And there's this. I'm a teacher. Okay, just a substitute teacher. But I spend a lot of time trying to get the kids to understand the importance of working hard to make life happen on their terms and not just settling for what's doled out to them, or at least finding a balance between the two. But I know what you're thinking. Here I am, flailing away and failing at exactly that. Days later, I do take Sammy to the regional fish competition, and predictably, it is largely a bust. But how did all that happen? Well, after some more browbeating and several round and rounds, Sammy said she would go under one condition. I cautiously asked, and what is that? She said she would go as long as she could turn the whole thing into a statement. Well, like what, I asked. Like a middle finger, she said. To what? Well, how about to just everything, she said, throwing her arms out. Well, she got me with that one. In fact, I thought it was good, really good, and bordering on profound, and how we were both feeling. So we go to the show and we're assigned a table next to the Horace Mann Middle School. Horace Mann was last year's winner and is making another serious run at the championship. 4 students arrived the night before and set up an elaborate aquarium with some great fish, all bred and raised at the school. The 3 judges, a man and 2 women, can't help but gush. The Horace Mann kids are about to burst. They think they have a lock on the trophy. When the judges come to Sammy and me, they approach us like we're a couple of panhandlers. The man, elderly and bespectacled, bends over and looks at Sammy's single Cummingee swimming unaccompanied in a bare, cheap-ass county fair-looking fishbowl. He straightens up and makes a mark on his clipboard. The 3 of them, without a word, smile at Sammy, then me. That empty smile that politicians use, working a handshake line. They all move quickly on. Sammy's symbolic middle finger must have signified something. When the winner is announced, the students from Mann jump up and down, screaming, laughing, hugging. One of the girls falls into our table, almost knocking over our fishbowl. I lunge and grab it, saving the day. Sammy, with 2 firm hands in the girl's back, gives her a good shove and tells her to stay the fuck in her own area. I smile. Sammy's showing signs of her old self. Driving home, we avoid the interstate and take the old 2-lane. We pass farm after farm, almost every acre carpeted with fresh green crops. The sun sits low and makes everything, though, the white houses, the red barns, the aluminum silos, the broad stretches of green, somehow diminished and dull in the disappearing light. We see a hang glider over a field and think he better get down before the dark gets him. In a little bit, I switch to the interstate loop around the city and keep the radio on, and I'm passing everybody. Sammy sits quietly. One of her favorite songs comes on and I turn it up. She taps her foot a couple of times, then stops. I let the song play to its end and then turn the radio down. You want to tell me what's on your mind, I ask? Nothing, she says, without looking over. Really? As I turn onto our street, I realize Sammy's asleep. I drive slowly up the block, past the Floyds, the Flynn's, and finally to the Ingalls. I hit the lip of our driveway carefully, not wanting to jar Sammy awake, not just yet. I pull up to the garage door and shut off the engine. Sammy is snoring softly. I reach for the dash and close off the interior lights. I roll down the window and feel the warm air sweep across my face like a lover's hand. Ah, Marianne. I guess I should tell you, listener, I'm talking about the other love of my life here. Think this, an oldies channel, that Josie song, she's the raw flame, the live wire, she prays like a Roman with her eyes on fire. Well, that fits Marianne to a T. No one enters a room and puts a charge into it like she does. And a mind, one of those set of eyes that can scan a page and retain the text, all of it. I always thought she was so smart. She got bored with things too quickly. So she would flit from one thing to another and become, ironically, a quitter. Law school, 2 PhD tracks, real estate. I think she took to me because I was so stable. She'd be grounded with a firm base to make her many leaps from. Me with my city jobs, seniority, and healthcare, until I wasn't even that. And did I mention she was 5'8" to my 5'7"? Hold on now, to be clear. I'm no mini-me. I might be short, but I'm broad-shouldered. Wrestled in high school. Big palms and long, strong fingers. They called me Pin City. And speaking of pins, you can stick a pin in this. That California dude, she'll get bored with him in no time. I predict. Because a flower shop? I mean, seriously. The woman never put flowers in a vase once in her life. It's ridiculous. She'll be back. At least she will be for Sammy. But will I take her back? Well, to be honest, a strong maybe. Just before she left, Marianne took Sammy and 2 of Sammy's friends to a Dua Lipa concert, outfitting them in logo t-shirts, flower charm vests, denim shorts, and leather ballet flats. I mean, how sweet was that? And she was good to me too, in a lot of ways, and some big ones. Like when I lost my job and she stashed Sammy at a friend's house for the weekend and arranged for the 2 of us to go to this little B&B by the river. Man, I'll never forget that night. I pull my knees up, slide down on the seat, drape my arms through the steering wheel. I can hear faintly the traffic from the freeway nearby and the occasional car passing on our street. A dog barks. These are lonely sounds, and at another time, they might have put me in a mood. But not tonight. I reach over and give Sammy a nudge. She wakes up stretching and looks at me with squinty eyes. Where are we, she asks. Home again, I tell her. The end. Well, that's our little excursion into Aquarium Light. I hope you've found at least a little bit of enjoyment from these last 30 minutes. And if so, maybe we can meet again somewhere down the road. Once again, I will remind you that I am Bill Friel, and you have been listening to another entry into my video chapbook. This entry titled Aquarium Light. So, having said all that, I am going to leave you now with one parting word, and that word is later.